Welcome to this session of Affiliate Management Expo. It is the 3 tactics to activate affiliates. And it is with my good friend, Stephanie Robbins. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, Rick. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. So today we're going to talk about affiliate activation. I'm sure it's a topic that people are dying to know about, um, but it's extremely important in growing an affiliate program. So before we get into all that, I want to just have you introduce yourself to the people in attendance so they get to know you and what you do.
Sure. So I am the owner of Robbins Interactive, which is a small boutique affiliate management agency that specializes in the health and wellness niche. And I've been doing digital marketing for over 20 years and affiliate for over 10 years. So when you get to a certain age, you just, add little plus signs and just say over. So that's how I'm rolling with that. I'm super passionate about content affiliates. In fact, that's pretty much what all my programs focus on is content affiliates, whether that's an influencer or an SEO niche affiliate. And so that's what I focus a lot of my attention on, which is why I also spend a lot of time on activation and recruitment.
Yep, and I learned a long time ago that a majority of your time managing a program should be with those two. If it's not, then
Absolutely.
there's a problem because you're probably not going to be growing.
Exactly. And then, we spend, it's, as you know, it's so time consuming to do recruitment and get the right affiliates in. And then a lot of times it's like we're so focused on filling that funnel that we forget to do the back end of it and make sure that they're not just activated once, but that they stay activated beyond the initial campaign.
Yep, and that's what we're going to get into today, which is why there's the brands are here. They're looking to grow, and that's probably one of the reasons why, because their activation strategies are not up to par. So I want to start with the definition of active versus inactive. So active could be different definitions to different people. It could be sending traffic, could be sales. How do
Mhm.
you define active affiliates?
Well, in the big picture, I would say that I define an inactive affiliate as someone that isn't driving clicks or sales.
Mhm.
But then to go a little bit deeper into that, I break them into two different, buckets, which is I have the ones that are generating clicks, but they're not converting. And then I have the ones that like signed up and I'm like, hey, what happened? I thought we had something. So my activation plan is going to be completely different depending on where they are. But I guess the short answer is anyone that isn't driving sales, in my eyes, is not active.
Right. So uh, now, when you're managing affiliate programs, do you typically start them from scratch or do you inherit them already set up and everything?
That completely varies.
Yeah.
Gosh, let me think. I would say like probably 50-50.
Okay. So when,
A lot of times I inherit programs that were, and we all know this doesn't work, that were just on like, they were just launched and then they just kind of, oh, I'm sure that this is going to work. And so they are severely neglected, basically. And so I'm cleaning it up and I'm activating as a big part of that. And then, just recently I launched two brand new affiliates programs.
got it, got it. So um, when you take over those programs that have been launched or they're launched and they're just forgotten about and they have affiliates in there, that's obviously a little more difficult to activate because the affiliates feel like, oh well, this program they don't really care, so it makes it more challenging. So um, why is it important to have your affiliates engaged but active versus just active? Because anyone can send a click, but you want them engage with you. You want them to have a good relationship with you. So obviously, I know it's important, but why should brands focus on building those relationships and activating them like that?
Well, the answer to that is twofold. One is you put so much time and effort and probably money into recruiting. So that's an investment that you're not getting the full ROI on if you don't activate these affiliates. And then the second one, which honestly I think is even more important, is that because it's hard to find the right affiliate, the perfect affiliate for your program, and then you get them activated, you want to make sure that they're engaged with you. So they're not just going to promote you one time when they first sign up, but it's going to be an ongoing relationship. And this kind of goes back to, old school marketing where it takes multiple touch points. I mean, back in the day, it was like it took 6 to 8 touch points before somebody made a purchase. I feel like the space, e-commerce and everything is so noisy, it's probably even more than that. So these affiliates, to really be successful, they should be, communicating about product benefits and brand benefits on a regular basis. And they're only going to do that if they're engaged with you and they are as invested in the success of the brand as you are.
Yeah, and it also comes back, you mentioned the touch points, and it also goes with them. It takes 4, 5, 6 times to even get in touch with the affiliates to even get them going. So
Yeah.
it's patience, and you got to think of it's a long game, not something where it's gonna happen overnight. That's where I think a lot of brands run into problems, is they think that, oh well, we got this affiliate in here, it's who we want, what does, let them go and just do their thing. But then they
Yeah.
see nothing's happening, and they just didn't build a relationship with them. So the affiliate just feels like, oh well, they don't really care, so I'm going to go
Yeah.
and promote their competitor. So
Or they just forget about you.
yeah,
Because there's so many people recruiting, particularly if you're working with influencers and content affiliates. There's so many people recruiting them. It's really easy for them to just kind of whoever's the shiny coin at that moment. So you just always need to stay in front of that.
yep. No,
And I always think of it. So this was so classic that you brought this up, because I was talking about this with my husband. And he's like, whenever I tell, because nobody knows what we do, right, with affiliate. Like out in the real world, they're like, huh, what do you do? And he always says, I always say, you're in digital, you're a marketing person, because in the end, that's what you are. And it's like all my recruitment and all my activation, what they really are is marketing campaigns, just like I would market a product, except I'm marketing the affiliate program.
Nope, you're absolutely right. And trying to tell my wife what I do is I don't even bother. I gave up. She's a nurse. She's like, she doesn't have the mindset to be dealing with this, and I'm like, I just give up. I'm like whatever. I'm like, I'm done.
She's got really important things to do. So
Yeah, I just want to learn about affiliate marketing.
yeah.
As long as I'm bringing in the money, that's all that matters.
Right. Yeah.
But I want to get into these campaigns, these activation campaigns that we do as agencies and brands should be doing.
Mhm.
What do you define as a good campaign versus a bad campaign? Like, how do you, like, when you look at campaigns, you're like, oh, that was a good one, or that one probably was pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, like, if I was to say just right off top, what's a bad campaign, is a campaign where you send something out once and then you forget it.
Mhm.
There's no like strategy behind it. There's no multi levels of communication. It's just like, oh, I sent him an email and asked him why he's not activated, without a lot of content or thought behind it. That to me would be a bad campaign.
Yeah.
Another one that I see all the time, and I think I don't know in any situation where this has worked, but full confession, I haven't tried it myself, is the people that think activation, the best way to approach this is to tell them they're going to get kicked out of the program if they don't activate. That to me is like the number one mistake.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I see that a lot. Or they just go through purge the list anyway, just remove them all anyway.
I know. I'm like, I don't get that, because, depending on the brand, like they will be like some affiliates that only promote you during like certain seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. Like, why do you want to walk away from that revenue? Yes, your goal is to get them to promote you regularly, but if all they do is a Valentine's Day campaign, you still want them. And then the other factor is, once they get kicked out, you've lost your opportunity to communicate with them.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right. And I guess that's going to lead into the meat of this conversation, are the three activation tactics that brands can use and should be using to activate their stagnant affiliates. So you have three of them that you've used and that have been tried and true. So let's hear them.
All right. So my three biggest ones, and they all kind of work together, are, running marketing campaigns for activation, like really thinking, and I'm going to go into detail about how I do each of these, really thinking about it as a marketing campaign with multiple touch points, and resource center is a huge part of that campaign. So I put together resource centers that my goal is to make it as easy as possible for somebody to promote my brand or product, right? So the way I look at it is, we're competing with other brands, competitors, and even non-competitors, just completely different industries. So what can set me apart outside of getting into a commission war? And that is making it really easy to work with me. So the Resource Center provides like technical support, marketing support, tips, all that good stuff. And like literally everything in a little package of like, here's a campaign that you can run and here's everything you need for it. And then the third part is really utilizing the networks and doing things like autoresponders to make it like scalable and sustainable.
Got it. So with the first one, if you want to just dive into a little more detail you don't have to go and obviously give away your secrets, but just enough where
I got
brands can
no
get started.
secrets, Rick. That always cracks me up. I'm like, I don't have any secrets. Like all you have to do is join one of my programs and you'll figure everything out.
Well, that's it. Then you're just getting accepted, though.
Yes, true. So as far as the marketing campaign, so the first thing I do is like, just like with any campaign, I think about my strategy and I think about like who my target audience is and who I want to approach. So the way I run a campaign is I want it to feel like it's individual, but scalable, right? So the first thing I do is I break out my inactive affiliates and I put them into like niches or buckets, so I focus on the health and wellness. So I might have one bucket that's just vegans, and then another bucket that's like gluten free, and another bucket that's like CrossFitters, and they're each going to get individual campaigns, just like you would promote a brand. Like you don't talk to everybody the same. You don't talk to a new customer and an existing customer the same. You don't talk to an affiliate that has produced sales but stopped the same as you would talk to somebody who signed up but just wasn't activated.
Got it.
So that's my first step. I'm going to tag them. I'm either going to tag them, or in some networks, they call it groups in the network, or ideally, I'm going to pull them out and get their email addresses. So hopefully I've already collected all their email addresses during the sign up process when they're like really anxious to talk to me. And some networks provide that information for you. Like I know ShareASale does, and Impact Radius. I believe Avant Link, there's an ability to do that as well.
They do.
So if I have all the email addresses, then I'm going to actually pull that out and run a full like drip campaign where I can set up a campaign that has multiple touch points. So maybe they didn't get the first email, but they're going to get the second email, or they're going to get the third email. And it's very comprehensive. So typically when I'm activating, I'm not just like, hey, how come we're not activated? I'm thinking about like, based on the niche that they're in, like what would appeal to them. So kind of going back to the resource center and the idea that like not everything is about commissions. One of the things that content affiliates are looking for is, content. And so if I can give topic ideas to kind of get them thinking like, hey, based on where we are in the year, and like let's just say we were working on CrossFitters and it was the new year, like here's a great campaign idea for and maybe even integrating, and you could integrate multiple merchants, and I've put everything together for you, so it's really easy for you to write up this campaign. Would you like to work with me? So that's an example of like a full campaign, and then I'm going to tie that typically with some type of promotion that is really accessible.
Got it.
And then other campaigns would be doing something similar to that, especially if I don't have email addresses, but I can also do a similar campaign through autoresponders in the network, which means that basically I can set it up. So if somebody joined the program and they haven't produced any clicks within 30 days, they get a certain email that goes out, and it goes out automatically. It feels really personal, but it's automated, right? Or if they did clicks, but they didn't convert, then another email goes out. So that email might be, focused on like, here's some great tips on how to increase conversions.
Got it.
And
No,
then
no,
the
hang on.
kind of tie with all of it is that resource center of sending people to the resource center so that it's super easy for them to become activated, because some of them are not activated because they forgot about you. Some of them are not activated because they're flustered by the technology, and others are just not activated because they're looking for, like, they're kind of having writer's block, or they're just not sure where to start.
Got it. And I wanted to circle back real quick to your email campaigns. Do you use a specific tool for that, or do you just do all of it? I would assume you don't do it manually. It's just way too much work.
Yeah, no. So I manage all my affiliates in a tool called BuzzStream.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're familiar with that. I know Media Rails is a really popular one too. That's owned by Impact.
Hmm.
And you could also do one through MailChimp. It doesn't have to be like through BuzzStream. What I like about BuzzStream is that it's a CRM tool. I mean, technically it's for SEO backlinking, but I think it works great for affiliate, and I've been using it for years. But basically all my affiliates are already in there. As soon as they join, I tag them. And with those tags, then I can do the custom campaigns, and then I can do what I refer to as a drip campaign, which means that there's multiple emails going out at specific times.
Got it. And then the resource center, basically, it is what it sounds like. It just provides them with as much information about the brand that they need to get going without having to email you 100 times.
Yep, exactly. Oh, and here's a tactic that I just started testing. So it's like 4 little bonus tactic is I've been putting together masterminds.
Hmm.
So basically putting together like a Facebook group with like 10 to 20 affiliates. And like I have a program that I basically walk them through of like how to be a successful affiliate. And that has also been a really great way to activate the smaller affiliates. And, that's something that I would like to just kind of touch on, is that a lot of people, they just focus on like the really big publishers to activate. But those onesie twosie little affiliates, like they typically are 30% of my total revenue, and they can really move that needle
Yeah,
with the right attention.
and that's the problem. They get neglected because they're the onesie Tuesdays, and they don't drive the 20, 30 sales a month. So they don't
Yeah.
get the same love, but they should be just as appreciated.
And they're frequently more loyal and easier to activate because not everybody is out there trying to recruit them and activate
Yep.
them at the same time. So if you can give a little love to your affiliates and a little, personalized attention, it goes a long way. Not to say that I just focus on these, smaller affiliates. I mean, obviously it's a balance. I have my top 20 that gets, white glove treatment, but those guys are already activated. It's just about, optimizing at that point.
Right. So, and then with the networks, it's just you said about just setting up the drip campaigns and things like that, and automating it a little bit, right? So, like for example, share a sale on Avant Link, you can just set up like campaigns, and then they go from there, right?
Yep. And, if you aren't in either of those networks and you want to do something like that, I mean, there are ways to kind of, either do it manually by doing searches based on metrics to basically pull out the affiliates, that you want to communicate based on, where they are in your program, whether or not they're sending clicks or sales or whatever. And so you can do that and then run the campaign outside of the network if that's not available, where like, you can set it up. So it's like, if this set of emails come in with this tag, then these emails go out.
Mhm. Right. And that's another challenge is all this sounds good, but it's actually setting it up is a challenge. And some brands just don't have the time to do it. And that's where the challenge comes in. It sounds great, but actually doing it is another thing.
Yeah. And that targeting, I think, is where a lot of brands get a little bit flustered, because they're like, wait, like I've got to tag everybody and then I've got to run all these separate campaigns. And it's like, well, yeah, but the conversion rates, to activation is so much higher that it is worth it to do that. But I do get that like some managers are like, no, I'm not doing that stuff.
Yeah. I know. It's one of those things where it's a lot of work up front, but if you set up the systems at the beginning,
Yep.
it'll be very much a lifesaver down the road when you start scaling and you're starting to really take it to a new level. You'll really be thankful you did that at the beginning.
Yeah, and not keep going back to the resource center, but that's another one where people are like, oh my gosh, that just seems really intense. I'm like, yeah, but how many times do you write the email how to create an affiliate link?
Right.
Like if you add up all that time, I can almost guarantee it's going to be more than it took to actually put the resource center together.
Yep. And it's funny about the resource center because I did a webinar with Commission Factory back over in the summer.
Hmm.
And I did a kind of it was like a resource center thing, and about like the brand guides and things like that, all those things that you don't think of that
Yeah.
affiliates should have access to, that many brands don't even offer. It's
Hmm.
things like that, so that they can, if they do want to make their own creatives, they have the style guide to know what colors to use and things like that.
Yeah. And because here's the thing is that some of these affiliates, like they're not full-time affiliates. You
Mhm.
know, they're doing this like as a side hustle. So they might not be activated simply because they just don't have the time to like really like sit down and think like, okay, who do I want to work with? What campaign do I want to run? So if you can make that easier for them and give them a way so that if they are working, you know, after they put the kids to sleep at 10 o'clock at night when hopefully you're not available, they can get their, you know, questions answered.
Yep. No, and the whole bottom line to this whole activation thing is you want to make it as simple as possible for the affiliates, but you also don't want to have it be like a one and done, like you said, or just like, oh, it
Yeah.
didn't we did one email, it didn't work. It's
Hmm.
the affiliate program doesn't work. We're done.
Yeah. No, and it's just like any other marketing campaign. You're constantly testing and tweaking, testing and tweaking. So it's like I'll be working on subject lines and I'll be like, oh, okay, I put this icon in there, you know, little emoji, and I got, you know, an awesome open rate, but nobody clicked. Okay, so I'm going to keep that subject line, but I'm going to, you know, move my, you know, body text around, you know. So it's just like any other marketing campaign in that you're constantly like perfecting it and tweaking it. And it's like, okay, they weren't responsive to this. So let me pull these guys out that weren't responsive and try this, you know. And so basically, I have all these campaigns at this stage because I've been doing it for so long,
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, in my toolbox. And so I'll be like, oh, okay, if they don't like this, then I know they're going to like this one kind of thing.
No, I completely agree with that. It's it's trial and error, and it's like messing things up and trying to put them back together again with different orders. It's
Yep.
that's the fun part of it though, because you're actually finding something that's going to work, and then you can model
Mhm.
everything down the road after that.
Yeah, exactly. And just like any other campaign too, it's like you really want to think about what's the call to action. So we are always telling our affiliates like, hey, here's a promotion. This creates great conversions. Same thing for affiliate managers. Like, what's your promotion? What's your reason to do this today? And not put that email in a folder,
Yep. No, absolutely.
you know,
So
and then make those call to actions attainable. That's huge. So like I have different bonuses based on where they are. I'm going to make a bonus for somebody that never even drove a click. We'll start as early as 3 sales.
okay.
But somebody that's driven 2 sales, but I feel like they have more potential, then I'm going to say like, oh, here's a bonus for 5 sales. So it's really about making it attainable and not cookie cuttering it like, oh, my top affiliate gets the same bonus program as my little guys. Well, that's not motivating for the little guys because it's like, oh, I'm never going to get to, you know, 30 sales that month. Like I just got 1. It's too
Right.
big of a jump. So think
And,
about where
and
people are and how to meet them there.
right, and that even like the people that go from 0 to 1, that should be celebrated, and then
Yeah.
then give them the reward. So, okay, so you got 1, fantastic. Well, now let's do 3 and 5, and
Yeah.
here's what we'll do, and that's how I do it as well, and it does work, and it, the cookie cutter ones just don't work, because you even offend your top guys. They're like, oh, this is what you're offering me. This is it.
Right, exactly, exactly. So it's all about making those little buckets and tagging, and you know, thank goodness the networks make it easy for us to do that.
Yeah. So the bottom line is activation is very important. You and I both know that.
Mhm.
And what would be the big takeaway from all this this conversation? Would it just be uh, making tagging and making sure they're separated and customized, or what would your message be?
I mean, I think obviously tagging is really important. It's granular, but I think the bigger message is that sit down and strategize what your activation plan is. There should be more than one plan depending on where the affiliate is. Don't one and done, like I've set it up and it's done. Always be looking at reporting and metrics just like you would any other marketing campaign. Customization is crucial. And then the biggest one is make it easy and exciting for them to be activated. And, you mentioned like the one sale, and like, I know some people are like, well, I don't have, the budget to do all these bonuses, etc. It's like even just saying congratulations for your first sale is a nice touch. And you can do that in an automated way or in a personal way if it's an affiliate that you're really excited about.
Yeah, because when I started coming up as an affiliate manager, that was the one thing I was always told. You always celebrated the little victories, no matter what they were for the affiliates, because it builds that relationship. It makes them
Hmm.
feel like, you know what, they notice this, they care. So I'm going to put more effort into it myself, and everyone wins at that point.
Yeah, and as cliche as it sounds, like affiliate marketing is absolutely a relationship marketing. I mean, there's two things that have to happen. You have to have a relationship with the brand and it has to convert. If one of those is missing, you're probably not going to promote.
It's completely true, and the whole this whole event, every single conversation in session, that word relationship has come up, and there's a reason why, because it's that's what
Hmm.
affiliate marketing is. It's all about relationships.
This really attractive person, you're super excited, the person's smart and everything you want, and you bring roses on the first date, but if you don't follow up for a second date, like she's gone or he's gone. So it's like the same, like we focus so much on the courtship, the recruitment part. It's like this is a long-term relationship. Like you got to have your A game on all the time.
Yep. So in the brands that don't have an activation strategy, I'm sure we'll have one after they listen to this, and it'll be just as important as their recruiting strategy, because they kind of go hand in glove without one, the other one's pointless. And
Absolutely.
so, Stephanie, I do appreciate your time today, and I thank you for sharing your activation knowledge with me.
All right, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
You're welcome.